Hello everyone, my name is Avni Ratan. I am a consultant clinical psychologist and MPhil from IBHAS and currently a PhD scholar at University of Delhi. I am here today to help you with the topic of developmental psychology. To start with, we are going to look at what do we mean by development. So, development describes the growth of humans throughout the lifespan from conception to death. It refers to development as patterns of change over time. It just does not involve the biological and the physical aspects of growth, but developmental psychology also looks at the cognitive, which are the changes in the thought processes, the emotional, which are the changes in emotional understanding and experiences, and the social aspects, which include relationships, self concept, and identity formation related to human development. Heinz Werner, he made the process of developmental psychology divided into two parts. One was integration and other is differentiation. So by integration, what we mean is that it integrates more basic, the previously acquired behaviors into new higher level structures. And differentiation, it is a process that involves progressive ability to make distinctions amongst the things. Discussing the types of development, the first type of development is physical, where the children grow in height and weight over the years and their appearance changes to a great extent during puberty. They also develop certain physical abilities during their progression towards adulthood, such as crawling, walking, running, writing. Their motor coordination gradually becomes well refined. So, the physical one here is the height and weight, the refinement of motor coordination, the second is the psychological and the cognitive development. So, developing psychologically and cognitively as a child's brain absorbs more information and they learn how to use that information. So, having to learn how to think on purpose, to process or organize all the information that comes to them from the environment, how to solve problems, to talk, to complete mental tasks such as remembering or such as recalling the telephone numbers or even using computers. Third is the social and the emotional aspect. So, children grow socially and emotionally. They learn how to interact, they learn how to play, how to work, and how to live with other people. They learn how to understand both their own feelings and that of others' emotions and ways of dealing with strong emotions as well. So, in order to function well as independent adults, they develop a sense of self esteem as they go through the long process of figuring out one's identity and developing a sense of morality. Here we are looking at both the social and the emotional aspects. Then comes the sexuality and the gender identity. Children also develop sexually and form a gender identity. This development is unique as it spans across other physical, psychological, and social channels. So, early on, children learn how their body works or looks and what it means to be a boy or a girl. So, they learn how boys and girls are different. As they grow older and they enter adolescence and puberty, they continue to learn how their bodies would work sexually and how to responsibly handle their sexuality so as to balance their sexual desires and appropriate behavior. They continue to decide for themselves what it means to be masculine or feminine throughout their lifespan. There are also certain forces that are involved in development. So, the few forces that we are going to look at is the first is a biological force. The biological force includes all the genetic and the health related factors that influence the development of a child. The first one is biological, which is the genes, right? So they provide the raw material, which is the genes, and they set the boundary conditions in the case of one's health for the development. So the prenatal development, the brain maturation, puberty, menopause, facial expression, and change in the cardiovascular functioning are some of the examples that we can look at. Then comes the psychological forces. Here, it includes all the internal, perceptual, the cognitive, emotional, and the personality factors that affect the development of a child. Intelligence, self confidence, honesty, and self esteem, they are also some examples of the psychological forces. Then comes the sociocultural forces. Here, it includes the interpersonal, the societal, the cultural, and the ethnic factors that affect the development of a child. This is important to know that how people and the environment interact with each other. The family, the peers, the co workers, the social institutions, the culture, and poverty. They are all the examples of sociocultural forces. The last is the life cycle forces. This reflects the differences in how some events affects people of different ages. So each individual is a product of a unique combination of these forces. No two individuals, even in the same family, experience these forces in the same way. Now, what are the characteristics of development through the lifespan approach? So it was given by Baltes. The first is development is lifelong. So according to the lifespan perspective, development is an ongoing lifelong process. It does not occur only in certain phases of life, instead, a range of changes within multiple domains. Now, what are these domains? These domains are the physical, the cognitive, and the social emotional domains. So, here we are looking at the physical, cognitive, and social emotional domain, which progresses throughout the lifespan. So they occur through the course of human lifespan, and each age period of development is characterized by its own demands. It has its own milestones and complexities, which pave the way for many similarities as well as diversity in the human experience. Second, development is multidimensional. So, development also unfolds along multiple dimensions. It is a product of changes that emerge in the physical, cognitive, and the social dimensions. So, changes in a person's height, their motor skills, and sensory abilities are a part of the physical dimension. So, components such as memory, perception, intelligence are the cognitive dimension, and a person's social relationship patterns of interactions or the experiences of emotions are components of the social dimension of development. Third, development is multidirectional. So it does not imply only growth and increased performance. It is also defined by a decline and a loss. So if there is a gain in the abilities or positive changes, but there is also in certain ages a loss of many of the abilities that become evident. So the multidirectionality is also evident within the different domains of development. For an example, an individual may experience a decline in their fluid intelligence as they enter late adulthood, but their crystallized intelligence may improve or remain stable as a result of their acquired experiences. Development is plastic. So, as per the lifespan perspective, development is plastic, which implies that people possess the capacity to be flexible across the various domains of development during all phases of life. So, how can this be explained through an example? Is by regaining the ability to speak after a stroke indicates the brain's potentiality for being plastic. So, however, plasticity is also affected by many factors which are related to both biology and environment. It also varies significantly across individuals. Now, coming to development is contextual. So, researchers in the field recognize that all development occurs within a context, often within multiple contexts at the same time. What are these contexts we are looking at? Culture, families, peers, schools, neighborhoods, community, poverty, the socioeconomic status, and many more. So, each of these settings are further influenced by various interacting or the historical or the economic combination. So these influences can be arranged in three categories: age graded, history graded, non-normative influences. So age graded are for people in a particular age group. These may be biological, like the onset of puberty, as well these may be mediated by the socio-cultural processes such as getting a driver's license at the age of 18. History graded influences, they affect people who have been impacted by the events of a particular historical era. So this may include people growing up during periods of economic prosperity or maybe depression or technological advancements, maybe medical challenges, war times, many more things. So such individuals who are born around the same time, also referred to as a cohort. So amidst the common historical influences, they usually tend to be similar to each other, thereby accounting for the emergence of generational differences, such as Gen Z are different from millennials. Then the non normative influences, here a particular set of the population are more affected as compared to another set of population.